You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. I mentioned that I felt LSU had a path to beating Georgia. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not telling you that this is like cruising in the left lane on the highway at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday in the middle of Wyoming when you just hit 85, set cruise, and go. This is like the road less traveled type thing. But there is a path. And I think so much of the conversation that we've centered around is, man, look, it's got to be a defensive struggle. You need LSU's defense to play really well. Georgia scores 38 a game. And the best way is to muck it up and play sort of like a shortened game where you win it something like, 21-17 or something like that. I don't know necessarily that I believe that's the path. And for a lot of years, we did this when LSU would play Alabama. And we go and say, okay, we would look, because LSU had that long losing streak to Alabama, and we'd look at teams that had success against Nick's defenses. And we'd always look, and you would see it was teams that ran spread, tempo, the quarterback was mobile, and that was the opposite of what LSU did. And so when I was looking at this game, I'm like, all right, who has had success against Georgia? And the reality is, in the last 2 years, there's only been one team. Like, nobody has really moved the ball against Georgia at all for 2 years, except one team. And it was Alabama last year in the SEC championship game. Now, don't cheat, but do you remember? I'll tell you the final score. It was 41-24. That was the game afterwards when Nick Saban talked about all the yummy rat poison. He had a little poop-eating grin like the cat that ate the canary in that post-game press conference. Now, don't cheat, but do you remember how many yards Bryce Young threw for in that game? Do you remember? Muse, do you want to take a guess? Do you remember offhand? Don't cheat.
275.
It was not 275. You want to take another guess?
Higher or lower? Do I get that?
No, you don't get
okay,
that.
Okay. I'm going to say 250.
You're going the wrong direction, Frank.
Oh, okay.
Bryce Young threw for 421 yards and 3 touchdowns against Georgia a year ago in this game. He was 26 of 44. Normally, when you see pass attempts go way up, what does that mean? You're behind. You're throwing to catch up. You can't balance. Bama wasn't balanced in this game a year ago. They said, you know what? That defensive front, with the guy that's going to be the number 1 overall pick and the other dude that throws offensive linemen around like they're children, like all those dudes in that front seven that all got drafted in the first round, we're not going to run against them. Nobody does. And so we're not even going to try to really do that much. If there's a breakdown and our really athletic quarterback can run a little bit, that'd be cool. Maybe every now and again to keep you honest. We're just going to throw. We got Jamison Williams and John Mechie and Slade Bolden. We're just going to throw. We like our quarterback. We're just going to try to give our guys some time, and we're going to throw because we like our receivers against your secondary. That's what Alabama did a year ago. That's what they did. And they did it really well. And I'm going to tell you, Jaden Daniels isn't Bryce Young. Bryce Young might be the first pick in this year's draft. But I'm going to tell you what. I like Kayshon Boutte. I like Jure Jenkins. I like Brian Thomas. I like Jack Besh. I like Malik Neighbors. I like Mason Taylor. I like LSU's pass catchers. I like all them pass catchers. Your path to win this game is on Jaden Daniels' right arm and throwing the ball to these receivers. Like, that's how you can do it. Because you're not lining up and running against Georgia. Nobody does. This year, I've mentioned this a couple times, the closest team to beating Georgia this year was Missouri. We've gone over this a little bit. Now, that game ended 26-22. And again, I'm admittedly, just again to clarify, I am reaching, okay? I get it. This team hasn't lost a regular season game in 2 years. The only game they've lost in 2 years was the aforementioned Alabama game in the SEC Championship when Georgia was number 1 in the country, and they already knew they were in the playoff no matter what. So it's kind of like this year as well. They're already in the playoff, even if they lose a game on Saturday. But that Georgia game against Missouri earlier this year was in Columbia, and Brady Cook, the quarterback, didn't exactly throw it the way that Bryce Young did, but he was 20 of 32 in 32 pass attempts. Schrader, their running back, ripped off a 63-yarder in that game, so they did have a big play. And Missouri won the turnover battle 2-0. That's your path. You're going to have to hit a big play somewhere. You're going to have to win the turnover battle, and we've talked about Stetson Bennett, who has been careless with the football. And you're going to have to just sit back and throw the football and make plays through the air because that's where you might have an advantage. Keely Ringo's great, probably going to be a first-round pick. But aside from that, it's not like you're looking at Derek Stingley and Tre'Davious White and all these dudes that are going to be lockdown number 1 cornerbacks in the secondary that can all run with LSU's receivers. That's going to be the challenge for LSU this year, is to make plays in the passing game. But that Missouri game, Missouri kicked 5 field goals in that game, y'all. 5 field goals. They could not finish drives. They kicked a 22-yard field goal, a 28-yard field goal, and a 29-yard field goal. 3 times they got inside the 15-yard line. 3 times. I'm sorry, 3 times they got inside the 10-yard line and settled for field goals. I mean, you got to finish drives if you're LSU. Finish drives, win the turnover battle, make plays in the air. Like that's your path. I'm not saying they can do it. Nobody's been able to do it this year. The last team to do it was Bama a year ago in this game. But if you're looking for the path, that's it. It's not line up and run and shorten the game and play great defense and get a defensive score. That ain't it. Not against this team. You're going to have to move the ball on offense, and the best way to do it is through the air. See if you can do it. They did against Florida. They've done it at times this year, moving the ball through, and Jaden's looked good throwing when he trusts his receivers and makes plays and lets it rip. He's going to have to do it on Saturday. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.